Hello guys, welcome to another session. In this session, we are going to look into the class variables and methods. So let's jump into the topic and understand that what actually it is. So basically we have covered so far, we have understand that all the object oriented concepts, what are the object oriented concepts, where we have looked into what is objects, what is class, and then we have also looked into the pillars of object oriented programming, where we have discussed about abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance and polymorphism. Then afterwards we have also learned about that Python classes, what is Python classes, how to create the Python classes, and where we have seen the syntax, where we have also seen that how to create object from that class. We have understand that what is constructor and what is init method. Then we have also seen self keyword, why to use self keyword. Then we have seen that how to print the object. Then we have also seen that how to add an instance method. We have seen the del keyword, when to use del keyword, and we have discussed about automatic memory management of Python. Then we have also seen that intrinsic attributes. So now we are in a position to understand that class variables and methods. So far we have seen instance method and instance attribute that is represented by a variable which is associated with the objects of classes. But now we will look into how to create a method, how to create a variable which is associated with a class. So let's look into that. So first understand it, what actually it is. So what is class variable? So class variable is associated with class. So what does it mean? So let's jump into the spider and we will write a program and we will understand that what actually class variable and class method is. So here we will use the same class which we have written earlier, that is person class, and we will write here how you remember that how do we can write or create a class. So we will use keyword class person over here, and then we will define that constructor. So you remember that how to create constructor with the help of init method, and here we need to pass self keyword. Why? Because whenever any new object will be created, then it will be associated with the self keyword, and here we need to pass name and age. So whenever we are creating a new object, we need to pass the name and the age, and here that need to be associated over here. So here name equal to name, self dot age equal to age. So this is we have created. Now suppose if we want to create a class variable, so how do you can create a class variable? But prior to that, we have to understand that what is class variable is. Class variable is having a single copy. What does it mean? So first we will create a class variable and then we will discuss more about it. So now we are going to create a class variable called instance underscore count equal to 0. So this is the class variable and that be associated with the class name. See here, we are using this variable direct, and here in instance variable we are using with self keyword. So now what is the benefit out of it? So that means what does this instance count will do? The number of times a new object will be created, it will increment 1. So that means a class variable is having only a single copy, and that is associated with person class, not with the object. So let's look into that. Here we will run it. Now we will create 3 objects. So we will run it now. P1 equal to person that we can keep a name John on 48. P2 equal to person. Here we will pass with 3. P3 equal to person Monica. Here pass 20. So 3% we have created. Now once you run it, so what will happen? So to understand it, we will also print the class variable, and the class variable is instance count. Now here if you will look into that, we are directly accessing the class variable. We are not creating an object. Suppose that if we want to access the name variable or age variable, we need to create the object. So remember that. So this is an instance variable, but to use a class variable, what we are doing, we are directly accessing with the name of the class, and now it will create only a single copy. So we will look into that. First we will create this object. So now we have created, and we will print the instance count. So how many number of object it is being created? 1. Now we will again create another object. Now again we will run it. See here, it has created two objects. Earlier it printed 1. and now it is printing 2. So what it is telling that? So it is now telling that we have only a single copy of class variable. Now again we will run it for person 3. Now we need to find that. See here, it has created 3 objects now. So our instance count is a class variable which is having only a single copy, and that is associated with class, not the instance variable. So this is the way you create a class variable. Now we will look into how to create a class methods. So now you understand that class variable. Now you can easily understand that what is class method. Class method is nothing but a method which is associated with the class, not with the instance, not with the object. But how do we can create a class method? Let's look into that. So we will again use it. So here right now we are directly using it. We are going to define a method which is called def increment instance count, where we are going to pass the class. See here, it is a keyword, and we will again use the same way, class dot instance count, increment instance count equal to 1. But it is not yet completed. So to make it class method, we need to decorate it. You should remember that at the rate, and we can tell that it is a class method. Now this will be associated. This method is associated with this class, and it is a class method. For other method, if you remember that we have created the birthday method, you remember, so write that as well. So I have written that method. So now here you can see that this method doesn't have this decorator at class method. So that means this method is associated with the object, not with the class. And here we are passing self. Self is representing that it should be associated with the object which is being created, and each object has a copy of this birthday method. But here only a single copy of method will be existing, and that is associated with the class. So now let's call it, and here we will do this changes. So we need to change over here, and we are calling this method. Instead of increment directly, we are calling this method. So here we call the method. Now it will run it the same way. So for that, what we need to do, so to demonstrate it again, we need to first delete the object which we have created. You remember the del keyword. So now we are releasing it imperatively, and we are telling that release this memory so that I can use it again. So you can run it. Now there is no object. If you try to access it, there is no object. So now we will again create it now, but prior to that you need to select it and shift enter, and after that we will create one by one, and we will check that how it is coming. Now try to run it. Sorry, we did a mistake over here. We need to do instance count over here. That should be instance count. So what the mistake we did, we have provided the method name. Sorry for that. So let's move further, and now again we need to run it. So now if you try to access it, and now you want to print the instance count over here, so it printed 1. Again you will create another object. So, and again you can find that how many objects has been created for this class. So run it. So 2 objects we have created. Now again we will run it, and then again check that. So 3 objects we have created. That is indeed true. So this is one of the example of class method and variables. So this is what I wanted to show you in this session. So see you in the next session. Bye bye.